Well, here we are again, going over our series of coping, coping in this world that we've been through a lot of trauma and anxiety, and how can we make a difference? I just want to, we're blessed again to have Amelia on. How are you doing
Hi.
today, Amelia?
I'm doing well. Thank you, David, for having me.
Good. That's good. Any highlights? It's been a while since we did a video. Any highlights since then, or?
Nothing much. Just going to grad school at Pepperdine, and uh, working on some projects, some volunteer projects, and trying to stay on top of everything. How about you, David?
Yeah, working hard here, and making connections, building websites, all kinds of things. But
Yes,
it's
that's
all worth.
exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting to see what's happening. Anyways, we're talking today about volunteer work and
Yes.
the benefits, especially in regards to people that have some kind of you know social anxiety, some kind of mental illness. So I'm going to ask you, like, we're going to have a conversation about this more than an interview. What do you see the benefits are as far as volunteer work goes?
Well, I think volunteer work can do more than several different things, but I'll just point out several different examples. It can help develop empathy for those that you're serving. So, for example, if you work with, let's say, a nursing home, you can develop empathy for some of the difficulties that nursing home residents might face. So, just developing that empathy and that ability to connect with people can foster a sense of community. So, there's also community building um, as well that helps foster the empathy. They feed off of each other. So the empathy feeds into community building, and then the community service work feeds into the empathy. So it's very, very beneficial that way. And also, the other thing that I think it teaches is teamwork, like how to collaborate with others, how to manage conflict, how to step up to the plate and learn leadership. Like when something needs to get done, how to step up and how to organize and get things done.
Yeah,
What about you,
I
Dave?
know.
What do you think?
Well, I agree with all of that. I know that here in Australia we have something called Vinnie's, which is a secondhand store,
Mhm.
um, and they just everyone there volunteers,
That's
and it's a great
amazing.
way to make friends. They have a vast, there's some really good stuff like couches or lounges, beds, etc. And it's I think it's well worth it, and I think that one of the big things is you can feel isolated, and these are good ways to make friends when you volunteer at something. It also gives you a goal, and a lot of us, uh, when we struggle with depression, anxiety, whatever it is that you
Yes, it gives
struggling,
direction and meaning. I
yeah,
understand.
yeah, and it's been proven in science that um, putting things off, or procrastination um, is actually a subconscious thing that you're not going to be able to do the job well, whatever it is. So
Interesting.
yeah,
No, definitely. And I think when you talk about mental health, it makes sense. Like it uplifts your spirits when you volunteer in a meaningful fashion in something that you're genuinely interested in. And I think some pitfalls to avoid with volunteering, just throwing this out here, are to feel like you have to volunteer. No one has to volunteer. It's not an obligation. but you should want to volunteer for whatever area you're volunteering in for. So if someone's pressuring you to volunteer in a certain area or a certain sector, um, I wouldn't give in to that pressure. I would seriously look inside yourself and say, what is it that I genuinely am motivated to do volunteer wise? And to commit the amount of time that you're able to commit with quality results, with quality work, not to be pressure yourself to do too much all at once. Because I know I've been guilty of overdoing things, and it's just not healthy. So you don't want it to like backfire on you is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think small changes over time are better than massive changes.
Yes.
Giving
Yes.
the brain giving the brain and the soul a chance to adapt to what you're doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and like I said before, like, I totally agree. People who are suffering from isolation, maybe have some mental health problems, volunteer work is a great way to not necessarily fix your mental health, but it's a great way to give you perspective.
Yeah.
And, there's a great resource. I mean, there's many good resources, but there's, a resource called it's a website called idealist.org, and it has different volunteer opportunities all across the United States, maybe even internationally. I'm sure you have one in Australia.
Yeah.
But it breaks it down according to sector, whether you want to work with animals or older people or whoever, and it breaks it down according to state. And there's even job opportunities. Like if you love volunteering for a specific place, I mean, it could turn into a job, or you could just apply for the nonprofit jobs on that website. So idealist.org. And one of my favorite places to volunteer, and this is just giving a shout out to it, is a place called Global Gifts in
Okay.
Indianapolis, Indiana.
Yep.
Basically, it's a fair trade store where it's run by a volunteer sales associates, and it sells goods from the international community and helps lift people out of poverty who are otherwise marginalized. So it sells from the international community and helps lift them out of poverty. So it's
Yeah.
really, really neat. It's a great nonprofit. What's your favorite place to volunteer for? What kind of volunteer work do you like to do, David?
I've done a lot of volunteer work. I
Like
was looking at it
coaching
for a
and
while when I was looking at getting into personal training because I'm qualified as a PT.
Mhm.
Um, and I was thinking of just volunteering at there's something called the police. It's called PYC.
Okay.
The youth, they have boxing, they have weights, they have young people doing different programs like gymnastics. And I was looking into that at one stage.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
we all go through different times and periods, and I have to say that things have changed for me. Like I think that you know, focusing on tasks that I know have meaning, um, and a lot of friends have moved away from where I am, um, and that inner circle has gotten smaller. So I think that because basically I work a full time job. I don't have a lot of time to
Yes.
volunteer, but I definitely see even within the work that I do, the volunteer work is very important. Um, and making friends is very important as well. And we haven't talked about this, but a lot of people that struggle with all kinds of different mental illnesses get lonely,
Yeah.
and I think that a lot, and they want a relationship. I've noticed, and I mean, they're vulnerable. So people are vulnerable. So, I mean, that I would say to you with all the wisdom of a 36-year-old, and I don't know how much that is, but, um, that volunteering somewhere opens up the door for you to meet someone and potentially for it to turn into a relationship. In fact, someone will come, it will click, and relationships can happen even when people have these issues. And usually they're with people that have these issues as well. So there's an understanding there, and so again, that's another positive of volunteering. If that's something that interests you and you're going for, um, and the other thing is when you're around other people with different conditions, they're very upfront and they're not very good at putting on masks. And that's good because you work out quickly who you click with and um, who's going to be easy to make friends with, and they become a friend, and who you stay away from because the personalities clash.
And
Um,
in some at some level, I'm sorry for interrupting you, you also have to learn how to work with others who you may not be completely compatible with. So learning that skill and knowing how to navigate different types of conflict or different perspectives is important in volunteer work. And in relationships in general is what I'm saying, just like in life in general. So it teaches life skills.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. I agree with that. Okay, so we have down here. So can you tell me about Idealist or idealist.org?
Yeah, idealist.org is like a database. It's a website that has all kinds of volunteer activities according to type of volunteer work, the state, the region, the city that it's located in, the amount of hours available. They even have job postings for nonprofit work if you're interested in
Mhm,
that type of work.
mhm.
And I would just encourage people to assess themselves, see what they're genuinely motivated to do, how much time they can realistically commit, and what their skill sets are. Like, what are they good at? What do they think they can contribute that would be quality work? So, those are the three things I would recommend. What are your skill sets? What's the time commitment that you can really afford? And what area of interest really piques your motivation?
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. Um, yeah,
And if you
there's
guys
a lot of options. There's a lot
yeah,
of options, you
so
know.
many options, and if you guys have any like, you wanna know where I volunteer or what I've done, like, feel free to comment below, and I'll respond to the comments and let you know of different areas that I've, volunteered a little bit here and there and that I enjoy, and if I can help you in any way, I'm happy to do it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, so these conversations are short, but I
Yes.
think they're very important. And we've been going for about 13 minutes. Um, I would encourage you to subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we bring these videos out, and also other videos. Um, what this channel's about is the getting rid of the stigma of mental illness and how to survive, and ministry stuff, cool supernatural stuff, not the boring religious stuff, and inspirational people. We will be interviewing inspirational people as well. So wherever you are, there's not many watchers watching, but if you watch it back, please subscribe and look at the other videos. There's a gold mine there. So
And we're open to suggestions, right, David, in terms of
yeah,
inspirational speakers and inspirational topics. We'd love to discuss them, and we welcome your feedback and ideas.
100%. 100%. All right, Amelia. Well, I think that that's a lot of information, and in a short amount of time, we can let people process it. So I want to thank you again for coming
Thank
on.
you.
I mean, it's your YouTube too, so thank you for doing this, and
Thank you, David.
appreciate your knowledge. You appreciate your knowledge in all of this, and I think it's helped. I know it's helping a lot of people.
Thank you.
All right. Well, guys, we'll be back with another video next week. And we want to grow this too. So if there's anyone out there that's a freelancer that thinks they can grow this YouTube, feel free to put your whatever it is that you think, however you can help, we're open to that. But good things are coming out of this. So we'll see you next week.
Thank you. All right. Have
See
a wonderful day, guys.
you guys. Take care.